Hello everybody, welcome to part 2 of my 3-part mini book series. This is the section where I share the inside pages of the mini book that I create using my gold leaf tutorial. So I'm going to be sharing all the supplies that I use to put my mini book together, even though the actual design and assembly will not be till part 3. So I used contact paper, a paintbrush, the ultimate glue. Here I have a bunch of different photos that I end up using in my mini book. I have a bunch of different clear page protectors, and you can see that there's different sizes there. And those are, I believe these are altered page protectors that I kind of customize myself, and that's why they have that black spine there. And then I have a 4x6 We Are Memory Keepers album, and you can see how I decorated the front of that in part 1. I have some Martha Stewart gold leaf that has that kind of great oil look to it, and then a Art Minds gold leaf. And then I have the 2 Shimelle embellishments. One is the dimensional stickers and one are the cork stickers. And then I have 3 different papers. One is called Ride, and let's see, the one with the little gold hearts is called Hopper, and the one with the cut apart sheet is called Goodall. So this right now, the one with the cut apart sheet is the sheet called Goodall. And one of the really great things about this project is that I ended up basically just using the supplies that I showed you to create a whole mini book, and I have almost no leftovers. I used almost every single thing. I used almost every embellishment, and I used almost all the paper in putting this together. So I think this is a really fun idea for using up your product and having everything be cohesive and not having to necessarily spend a lot to have it look really fun. So you can see the first thing I did was just to use the cut apart sheet, and I cut all the little 3x4 pieces together. And then here I'm taking the large 12x12 sheets with the other pretty designs. I love this heart with the gold, and I'm cutting them into 4x6 pieces since my album is sized to 4x6. And that's the largest size that fits in the album that I chose to use. And you can see I did not necessarily maximize the paper to get all 4x6 pieces, and that's because I was very strategic with where I wanted the words on that beautiful paper that says lovely and adventure, and then same thing with that pretty gold glitter heart paper. I wanted there to be not quite as many gold hearts all the way down at the bottom. I wanted to have a nice row of non-gold hearts too. And then there you can see I just went through all my photos, and I decided to go ahead and add some gold leafing to some of these 4x6 pieces of paper that I cut. And I'm also going to be adding some gold leaf directly onto the photo. And one thing you'll see here is that I use both the negative and the positive of my letters, and not of the same letters. Like, I don't use both the negative and the positive of that little piece on the top that says the end. But you'll see as we get further along in the video, right now I'm just using the actual part where the letters are missing, and later you'll see kind of a cool little trick that I use so that we can easily attach the letters instead of the negative piece to either a photo or a background paper. So now I'm just going through, I'm taking my cuts, and I just designed these in Photoshop and printed them out using my Silhouette Cameo. I cut them out of contact paper, which is clear, completely clear. It's adhesive on one side and not the other. And one thing that you'll want to make sure when you're cutting these shapes out of the contact paper is that the design is facing with the adhesive side towards you, and the non-sticky part is facing towards your paper or your photo, whatever your background is. Now, I did mention in part 1 that you can use double-sided adhesive paper, and that I personally choose to use contact paper because I like the option of being able to use my wet adhesive to adhere this design to any surface and not have to worry about it coming off. The glue that I use, the Ultimate, does adhere to metal, wood, plastic, paper, pretty much like I said before, anything that I've tried to adhere it to, it has worked well. So, and then here you can see I'm taking all my little pieces off my silhouette mat, and I'm kind of getting an idea of which 4x6 either pieces of paper or photos I want to adhere them to, and getting a feel for this. You can see that I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and just show I'm using my wet adhesive to attach the back side, which is the non-sticky side, to my background. And it's nice because with the paper, this adhesive adheres right away. So it's a nice strong hold. With the actual photos, you're supposed to wait a little bit for the adhesive to dry just a tad, because it does take longer since the photo is a non-porous surface. But here I'm just showing I'm attaching the pieces. I did cut them just a tad bit wider than 6 inches so that I could get a nice clean outside edge for the pieces that go off the edge, and most of these designs do. And you can see that I came up with fairly simple designs, and that's because I knew I wanted to combine either some of the designs with some of the really great embellishments that I have picked out for this mini book, or just have the gold leaf be a really great statement piece in itself. And so I'm going through with each one, deciding where I want to place things. You'll see for some of the designs I put the adhesive on the back of the contact paper, and then for some of the other ones, like this arrow, instead of attaching it to the back of the contact paper, I just attached it to the idea of where I think I want the design directly on the paper. And here I really liked the idea of adding in some of my journaling by using gold leafing. And in order to make it a little bit more of a statement, or maybe stand out a little bit more, because for example this paper is, a little busier with the background, all those cute little sayings, the background words, and I wanted it to pop a little bit more. I did use a nice big solid rectangle with my word cut out of it rather than the actual word itself. So I guess I am using more the negative of the cut file than the design, the actual design of the cut file for these ones. And I'm adhering this to this pink paper. And you'll see later on, I think in the 3rd video, not all of these I end up keeping exactly like this. I do end up changing a little bit. Like for example, that pink one that I just attached, I think I end up changing that a little bit. But I kind of wanted to keep everything in just to show you like the batch processing, the easiest way of if you are going to put a mini book together, to get everything done fairly quickly is just to do lots of different things all in the same, or lots, all, for each step do everything all together, like all the gluing together and all the gold leafing together. I think it just goes a lot faster. So, and then here you can see I'm trying to line up the C and the L. And again, this is an example where instead of using the negative of the letter like I showed in the other examples, I end up using the actual letters themselves. And I like that I kind of switched it up and did both. But I'm kind of eyeballing this, like where the C and the L should go. But one of the nice things that I found about actually using a die cutting machine where you have that really great negative cut file is that you can take that piece and you can line it on top of, just like this. This is a perfect example. You can take that negative piece and line it on top of your photo, and it's somewhat see-through, and there's those really great lines so that you know you're getting things straight. And then you know exactly where to put your adhesive, and you know exactly where to put your letters, and then you get the perfect spacing, you get them exactly where you want. I mean, for a word, it's not crucial, but if it's for a design where something like that would be more important, like I've done an actual gold leaf looking splatter before, it definitely seems to help to use that technique versus just freehanding it. So here you can see I'm using that same technique again, and I'm just cutting it out of my 12 by 12 sheet to make it a little more manageable. And I'm taking in mind when I do this that the inside of the O is missing, the little inside of the R is missing, and the little inside of the A is missing. So I'm purposefully not attaching glue to those sections. And one of the great things about this simple gold leaf tutorial is that it is so easy, and you really can't mess it up, because even if you get glue around the outside, you can use your X-Acto knife to kind of chip it away. And then there you can see I took some of the sheets that we just adhered our design to, and I ran them straight through my typewriter to add journaling. And sometimes I use my printer, and sometimes I do it by hand, but for this project specifically, I wanted it to have a little bit more finished look. So I went through and added my journaling with a typewriter. And then this is the section where, with the gold leaf tutorial, you can see that you actually get to add the gold leaf. So this is the exciting part where everything comes together. And this is such a beautiful product, you guys. It just turns out so lovely. I know there's a lot of gold foil in scrapbooking. I love the texture of gold leaf. It's just gorgeous. And there you can see I got a little bit of adhesive in the middle of that heart, and I just used my X-Acto knife, and the gold leaf came right off. And that's, again, just because I had a little extra adhesive there showing. The nice thing is that with this contact paper, you can see I'm kind of using my fingers to pull the top piece off to expose the actual adhesive side of the contact paper, and this is fairly easy. You can use tweezers or something to kind of probably make it even a little bit more easy, but I find that if you don't use a corner and instead you go right into a nice chunky side of whatever your shape is instead of going straight for the corner, this top layer of contact paper seems to come off quite a bit easier. So that's just a little tip, something kind of fun that I found that's worked really well for me that I recommend. And I am so excited for you to see what the gold leafing looks like on that photo with the word fun. It looks beautiful on paper. You've seen, if you watch part 1, what it looks like on the front cover of my mini book, but I'm quite excited for you to see what it looks like on this photo as well. It makes a really nice statement piece. And let's see, so I'm just finishing taking all the top parts of the contact paper off to expose my adhesive side. And I'm taking my gold leaf, and the nice thing about gold leaf is you can use nice big chunks of your gold leafing, or you can kind of piece little pieces together, and both end up giving a very similar look. I'd say that if you use a nice big piece, it's probably not quite as textured as if you piece a lot of little pieces together, but it's very similar and both look amazing. And one of the great things about this look is, like I said before, you can go ahead and add your gold leaf, and then you can add embellishments, but honestly, it looks beautiful even without adding anything extra. It just makes a really great statement. So I'm just going to go through. Looks like I have a couple more pieces here. And one other thing that probably would be good to mention is that in doing the gold leaf tutorial, I found that a lot of the gold leaf product that you can purchase, in this I use both the Art Minds brand gold leaf, and then next on this same video you'll see what it looks like when I use some Martha Stewart gold leafing. And I believe she calls it gilding paper, is that the actual product usually recommends covering gold leaf with a sealer, and that's because gold is soft, and so gold leaf is kind of soft. Like if you're not going to be protecting your gold leaf surface, you may want to consider sealing it. These pages are going to be in page protectors, so that's not something I'm going to do. And right now, I personally prefer not to use a spray sealer or whatever kind of sealer it is that's recommended with your product. And that's just because I've tried it in the past and I found that the sealer took away too much of the beautiful texture that I love so much about using gold leaf over a different gold product, say like gold foil. Because you can take gold foil paper and cut it out of your die cutting machine or cut a shape out of gold foil, and it's basically the same idea. But I prefer, right now at least, the texture of the gold leaf. So that's just something to keep in mind. You can go ahead and protect it with a spray, and I'm sure that there's probably one out there that would make it look beautiful. I've just tried a couple different ones and I haven't been happy with them so far, so that's why I do not share an example of what that looks like in the video. And here I am just finishing up my last one here. You can see as I'm applying the gold leaf, I'm just really trying to get it to stick to my adhesive really well. And on this photo, I think I ended up with a little bit of gold leaf actually on the photo, and instead of rubbing it off all the way, which I'm sure I could have done, I kind of left a little on there because I thought it looked really great. So that is the first part of the inside pages, and this second part are a couple other pages that I share using this beautiful, it's a Martha Stewart Crafts, she calls it a gilding paper, and it's a gold leaf paper, and it looks kind of like it has a really beautiful oil spill to it, or there's some sort of, mineral or metal interaction that kind of looks like has happened here. And I think it's quite lovely. It's very pretty. I do end up changing some of these around a little bit in my final video just because it is such a busy pattern, but most of them I keep exactly like you're going to see here because I think they're just they're so beautiful. So I'm just showing the very beginning here what it looks like to do that first one, and then here they are all finished. I'm not going to show doing them all over again. But I kind of wanted to show that first one just because it was a little bit of a different style because I took the gilding paper, and since it was a different product, it was kind of attached to this really great sheet that made it easier, I think, to apply. And here are my products, and I'm ready to get my album put together. So come back and take a peek at what I've done in part 3. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Bye.